What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer, editor of Cannabis Culture magazine. It's February the 8th, Friday today, 2013. It's the big medical marijuana battle show, and I said in the headline of the show notes today, the battle is just beginning. We're just getting started on a new front in this war. And we're going to have Pete Melonhead on the show today. Now, Pete was, he is the owner of the MCCM Dispensary in Hamilton, Ontario. He was busted by the cops, and there's charges against him and his partner, his lady there. And we'll talk to him on the show. We're going to Skype him in. Also on the show, we have another interesting character who is lurking around here somewhere. What's going on, Marius? Is everything okay? What's up? Oh, there was sound over top of us? Is that what happened at the beginning there? Okay. You guys are good. So you were hearing some sound in the background. Okay. Well, here we are. It's Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah. On the show today, Pete Melonhead of the MCCM Dispensary in Hamilton, Ontario, who was busted by the cops just on January 30th. We're going to have him on the show. We're going to have Mik Mann on the show, or some character that looks like him. I'm not sure where he is. He's supposed to show up, but we haven't seen him yet. He said he's coming down to the show, so maybe he'll show up. And yeah, we're going to be talking about the ongoing battle over medical marijuana here in Canada. Now, we had a medical marijuana program that was half decent, maybe half, maybe not quite half, but at least it allowed people to cultivate their own marijuana in their homes when they were registered by the government under the MMAR program. Now we have a new form of regulations coming in from the Canadian federal government, Health Canada's MMPR regulations. Now these regulations are slightly different. They're going to be taking people's personal cultivation away by March of 2014, stopping people from growing medical marijuana in their own homes and forcing them to use a commercial system where there's who knows how many providers, could be anywhere from just a few to, if they expand it and open it up, we're just not sure yet. But those people will be paying retail weed prices instead of being able to grow their own. So a patient will now be forced to buy weed at retail prices from some commercial distributor instead of actually taking the time and effort and care and growing your own for the much cheaper price. So, all right, here. Now, it doesn't look like my chat is working properly, but I can see it over on the other screen here. If you guys need anything, you can tell us in the chat. Thanks for letting us know about sound problems, etc. Marius.
Hey, Jeremiah.
On the boards. Hey, Mick. There he is. I can only see your head floating there.
Yeah.
The rest of you is invisible.
The invisible guy.
I like your camo getup.
Hey, Pot TV, how's it going? Thank you, man. Thank you.
And so now, Mick, tell us about your camo getup there. What's going on with all that?
Well, this is actually, as I've talked about on my show, called Real Tree Camo. Real Tree is a brand name. As you can see, it's basically almost multi-dimensional, and some of the best hunting camouflage you can get today. There's a lot of variations. They make, like this is what they call woodland print, or you can get sort of grasslands. There's variations of winter. They even make something called night ops camo.
Nice.
You know, so there's lots of stuff out there, but I think more importantly, what needs to be noted is that this is going to be the future of marijuana farming underneath, or marijuana growing underneath these new proposed medical regulations. I feel that, you know, as someone who's been in the system, allowed to grow my own medicine for 13 years now, I've developed specific strains, or I've got certain strains that are, you know, work for me. And I mean, I've spent a lot of time and effort and money to perfect this. And this is all being taken away from me, and the option is a program which isn't even going to work for me. I'm not going to be able to get the meds I need. So essentially, I'm going back to what I used to do many years ago, and that's growing marijuana outside in the bush. It's guerrilla farming.
Guerrilla growing.
And this is the kind of clothes that, you know, that you wear doing guerrilla farming. I mean, this is what it is. It's all about stealth, and we're back to this whole us against them game, and, you know, clearly they don't want to work with us in a program. They've had 13 years to come up with something, and the very reasons why they said that they're taking away the permits would easily be fixed. A1 is safety. Well, I think that they're lucky that they're not held liable at some point where someone's had a fire or some other problem in the home and held Health Canada liable for granting them a permit to grow in the house without first asking for an electrical inspection.
Yeah.
So simply, when you renewed your license, as we have to do anyways every year, I've been doing every year for 13 years, why not just say, well, here's my yearly electrical inspection. I'm up to snuff. That takes care of safety.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the illegality of it or people abusing the system. Well, we already have something in place for that, and that's called the police. And I personally know of people who've been over limits and, you know, they've been selling their medications that they're not supposed to, and they've gotten in trouble for that. Well, the law is there, and that's what deals with that. So it seems like that problem really isn't a problem, and it takes care of itself. Because legal or illegal, people are still going to be selling marijuana.
Yes.
And they do it for a number of reasons, especially in these hard economic times.
Yeah.
So that's a no-brainer.
Well, and I think that's a big part of it with people who do sell marijuana. I mean, it's a moneymaker, and you can do it quite easily. The problem for patients with this new system are that, I mean, it's going to be prohibitively expensive alone. I mean, you know, aside from getting an actual good strain and that kind of thing, just being able to afford to pay those damn retail prices. I mean, how many patients out there can really do that when you're already sick? Maybe you're not working as much, you might be on disability, or who knows what the situation is. It just seems really ridiculous that they're going to make it so much more expensive. And now they're advertising it as if it's not going to be that much more expensive. Oh, it's only going to be, you know, this, what do they say, $8 a gram or something?
Well, that's $8.50 to start.
Yeah, that's huge. Actually.
And you understand, and too, now I don't know if that's including the HST or GST, whichever it is, but
right.
I've heard that there is going to be tax on this. So is that $8.50 plus HST? Bringing it, I mean, and now you're at essentially at $10 a gram, give or take, which is street price for probably weed. You can get better weed.
Yeah.
So again, now it's going to be, well, gee, the same price, I'm going to get the better quality. Where am I going to go? Not to the so-called government provider, but I'm going to go to the street guy back again. And
oh, sure.
Again, we're right back where we started. 13 years later, an unworkable program, and now they want to basically trash it.
What's up, Marius?
I think this is
on the
more
top right-hand
of a
corner.
government excuse.
Here, you keep talking, Mick. I'll do it.
More of a government excuse to get out of this program, to shit can the program, and basically turn it over to private enterprise, to a few individuals as a gift. But I think they're going to be hard pressed to find the customers, because the majority of people in this program don't have any money. So right away, there's already, most of us are putting in impact statements, and we're hoping to get an injunction. And in the impact statement, it seems to be the common thread is, I won't be able to afford to buy my medication. I'm going to be without medication. I'm going to need to find another source for my medications.
Yeah.
That seems to be a very common thread. So if I'm kind of curious to see the company that wants to, say, put up a couple mil to develop a facility to produce these meds, if X amount of years down the road, they're still going to the shareholders going, our stock's worthless.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, because we don't have the clientele to buy the stuff.
Right, now that's a big problem, because who wants, I mean, getting the system to where we want it to be is going to take some effort and time. And without the government subsidizing things like they do now with prairie plant systems, you know, if they're coming completely out of it and not willing to do that.
But they didn't make money.
No,
they made
right,
no
of
money.
course
That was the
not.
government just giving them millions of dollars over years of contracts.
Because they were making garbage. And who wants to smoke brown, twiggy weed?
Oh, yeah, nobody wanted it.
No.
And well, it didn't have the see, I think it was intentional, because the government wanted to come back and say, oh, look, marijuana has no medical benefit.
Right.
Well, not if you're going to smoke that shit, it doesn't.
Right. Well, and I think that these new regulations will have the effect of pushing people back into the black market. I mean, unless they really do it right, which I highly doubt they can, they're going to push people right back to the black market, and I think they'll design it. Yeah.
I've missed her. I haven't been able to hit her for a while.
Now, Mick, we were going to talk about, on the second half of the show, it's just about 4:20 right now, we're going to bring Pete Mellenhead out here pretty quick, if we can Skype him in. But wanted to talk to you about your new show on Pot TV, which is now Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific time instead of 3 p.m. Pacific time. And you're out in the bush doing guerrilla grow stuff. And that show is called Time to Grow with Opus Live on Pot TV. And, of course, Opus, you used to do a show here called Opus Live. right in this exact studio, and that's why you missed Duchess, because you had Duchess sitting on your desk. Usually when you did your show too, she was a co-host of your show.
Well, you would often come down and bring Duchess down, and yeah, no. And she's still fun to hit off.
She's a beauty. She's a beauty.
More in there. That's a little bit cloggy, but.
Yeah, it needs to be
the bowl. Just the bowl, I think.
Yeah, the rest of her's been clean.
Yeah, the rest of her's pretty clean.
So
she's not such a dirty bottom bitch today.
Yeah, I have some videos to play as well. Now we might as well wait till 420 comes by before we play the first one.
Let's do that. I'm gonna roll a joint. No, actually,
that's a good idea. I'm gonna hit this bong. I guess maybe I should wait the 2 minutes before I hit the bong. But Mick, why don't we?
Yeah, man, I'm right here.
Talk about why you had to stop doing your show in the building here and you went back to the island.
Well, unfortunately, the travel time was just killing me, and I was just stretched between far too many projects, and like the traveling back and forth on the ferries, wasn't so much the money really. I mean, it was the money too, but the time was even worse. It was just eating into the time, so I had to regroup, take some time off, and I decided. Again, because I saw what was happening with these new MMPR regulations and things, I thought this would be a good opportunity to change the format of the show a little bit and go with and show people how to garden guerrilla style, because I feel this is what you're going to see a big rise in, that people are going, well, I mean, I for one am not going to risk forfeiture of my home.
That's right.
That I bought legally and can prove.
Yeah.
Just because I'm growing a few plants for medicine. Because they will, not only, if I get arrested, I'm going to be served with forfeiture of my home notice.
Oh, they'll try and take
automatically.
Your house. Yeah.
Now, Kirk explained this when he was here doing his presentation a while back. Oh, sounds like 420.
Happy 420.
Happy 420.
Happy 420. Gonna hit Duchess. Yes, happy 420 to everybody here in the lounge. We're recording at 307 West Hastings on the second floor of our beautiful BC Marijuana Party Vapor Lounge. It's packed.
Hey, chat. Nice to see everyone in chat, by the way. I just like to say, I know it's this is Jeremiah's show, but while we're celebrating 420 at Steeltown and Free Mark and Giant, Wave, all the usuals. Good to see you guys here in the chat. It's kind of neat being back in the Pot TV studios. I enjoy it. I mean, hopefully within a year or so I'll be able to get moved over here, and then I can crash all your guys' shows.
Nice. It's good to have you as the wingman. It's nice to have somebody to bounce stuff off of, you know. So, wow, good bong rip. Okay, it's 420, and we can play something now. Did you take? Oh, you're hitting that pipe. What's the pipe you got there? Nice.
This is one of my old standard pipes. I really like this one. It's basically with the old hammer style. They just don't make them like this anymore. You know, they all went to the spoon style pipe.
Yeah, or the rounded.
Yeah, and I really like the old hammer style.
It's like a mallet.
And it's also got the choke holes on the right hand side. So instead of my thumb, I'm using my finger over here.
Nice.
It's just got a nice grip. Here, now.
She's a beaut.
Check it out. She's a comfort pipe.
Very nice, very nice.
Mr. Murray's.
I dig it. All right, so, well, let's see here. Got a couple different videos. Thought the first one I would play here is about a big news item in the U.S. right now. Actually, I'm going to play two videos in a row. One's just 30 seconds. The other's just a few minutes long. This is about the new legalization bill that's being put forward on a federal level down in the U.S. by a few different people there. I will let the video explain, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about what's happening down in the U.S. politically. All right.
America.
America. Check this one out.
That was X down south. America. I gotta lower this mic stand.
Happening today, several lawmakers, including Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer, plan to introduce two bills to change federal marijuana laws. Those measures would allow states to legalize pot, require growers to obtain a federal permit, and it would create a federal marijuana tax. Blumenauer says votes in Washington state and Colorado to legalize marijuana show it's time for Congress to end the 75-year federal pot prohibition.
Smoke it, then tax it. Today, Democrat lawmakers rolling out new legislation to regulate and tax marijuana in states where it is legal. Congressman Earl Blumenauer is behind that push. Congressman, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. As I understand it, the proposal, it would require growers to obtain a federal permit. And it would create a federal marijuana tax. Blumenauer says votes in Washington state and Colorado to legalize marijuana show it's time for Congress to end the 75-year federal pot prohibition.
basically add a federal tax of roughly $50 per ounce, and you believe that that would bring in a total of $20 billion extra revenue per year. That sounds like it must be an awfully big pot market in America. Is it that big?
Well, estimates vary, but the fact is that it is billions of dollars that we spend to arrest 2/3 of a million people a year for something that half Americans think should be legal, and 2/3 say let the states regulate it. It would stop the cost. It would, like we tax alcohol, it would put money to reduce the deficit, and we'd start having a more rational policy regarding marijuana.
So it wouldn't bring in $20 billion in revenue directly from the pot tax. That's not the case, right? Okay.
We actually don't know.
Okay.
There have been some estimates that suggest that the voters in Colorado and in the state of Washington, by moving to legalize recreational marijuana use, could cost drug cartels over $1 billion. The point is, we don't know how much, but we're spending a lot of money on a program that's not working, and we are losing a lot of revenue that could help reduce the deficit.
Legalization could, though, bring the price of pot on the street or in a legal store, could bring it right down, because if you take the criminality out of it and there's no penalty for it, and you've only got a $50 per ounce tax, and I understand that some high-grade marijuana goes for $600, $700, $800 an ounce, you actually bring down the cost, don't you, which would surely encourage usage.
Well, I'm not certain that we have had much success in terms of discouraging it with high costs and criminal penalties when we're told that something like 18 million people used it last month.
Okay.
And over half the American public has tried it. But the economics will sort their way out. The point is, we're spending billions on a failed policy, and we could be collecting billions. I think the net swing would easily be over $100 billion over the next 10 years.
The critics,
savings and reducing the deficit.
Real fast, Congressman, the critics say, A, marijuana is a gateway drug encouraging other kinds of drugs, and this legalization and tax method that you've got here opens the door to the legalization of other drugs. It's another gateway to further legalization. What do you say?
Hogwash. I mean, people are using it now. That's not an issue. It is less dangerous and less destructive than tobacco in terms of its addictive qualities. But the point is, let the states decide. 2 have already done that for recreational use. 19 have done it for medical marijuana. The federal government should get rid of an absolutely unrealistic system that classifies it as being worse than meth or cocaine,
right,
and turn it from a cost to something that will help reduce the deficit.
Congressman Blumenauer, thank you very much for joining us today, sir. Much appreciated. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, we're back, and I don't have a microphone actually. Can you slide that mic over here, brother?
Yeah, no.
Okay. All right. So we'll bring this down. It's shade here. Okay, so to my left on the Skype screen here, we have Pete Mellenhead. Pete, what's up, man? Pete's from the MCCM Dispensary in Hamilton, Ontario. Pete, you were busted by the cops on January 30th. They shook you down at your place of business. They also came and hit up several of the other locations. At least that's what I had heard last. You and I haven't had a chance to really talk about this much since then. So why don't you maybe just explain to people what happened on the 30th?
Well, basically I went to work that day, and I was there for maybe about an hour. And then with 5 seconds, about 20 to 30 cops came, told me not to move, put me under arrest, basically, like put me in handcuffs, grabbed my wife and put her in handcuffs, and basically started harassing some of my customers that were in the store at the time, questioning how much, like what they were doing there, like just asking them a bunch of questions, harassing them, and you know, basically that was pretty much about it. I started to speak up and like, you know, tell them to stop harassing people and leave people alone, just deal with me. And then they basically just took me away into a police car, took me off to jail, 5 to 6 days.
Sorry, how long were you in jail for?
I went to a holding cell Wednesday. I got out Monday morning, basically. I went to jail, like Barton Jail, Hamilton, 5A range. But I got out Monday morning, or Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock or something like that.
Wow, man, that's rough. So now when they hit you, what did they charge you with? Have they actually officially gone forward with the charges and stuff?
Yeah, I've allegedly been charged with like 13 charges. So, like, I can't remember them all, but I know like there's trafficking charges, allegedly, proceeds of crime, possession, cultivation.
And they hit not only your dispensary, the actual like storefront dispensary location, but they also hit other spots of yours. Is that right?
Well, no, I don't have any other spots. Like I have a actual like where I live. I had my like I'm a licensed medical marijuana like grower myself, so I had a license legal at my house where I lived. You know. Went there as well as the store, and basically my only 2 locations. There was a story that said something about Brantford as well. I don't know if you know, like another location out there like that. So that's false information.
Oh, okay. So it was just, and so did they go to your house as well though?
Yeah. Basically, like they went to my house. They filled all my plans.
Uh-oh, no, we're breaking up a little bit there. Having a problem hearing you for some reason. Yeah, it's just cutting out the sound, unfortunately. I don't know if... yeah, that's a Skype, maybe a Skype connection thing. Pete, are you still there? Can you hear us there, brother?
Yeah. Just, like I said, they went to my house and they took all my plants, all my medicine, all my money. Basically, I lost my house because of this. I was renting to own it, so I'm not going to have the house anymore because of it. So it's just a bunch of bullshit and time that they're costing me right now.
No kidding. And so the charges, you said there's 13 of them. Some of them are trafficking. That means they had to have sent in an undercover cop to actually make a purchase from you from the dispensary. Did you hear about that, or did you find out about that?
Yeah, well, that's what I heard. Like, when I went up to court, they said that I did allegedly traffic to an undercover cop a couple times. I think like 2 or 3 times. So, yeah.
Right, so they got you on trafficking. And really, this is the same thing that we've seen in other dispensaries here in the greater Vancouver area, in British Columbia and other places, where they'll send in an undercover cop, sometimes even going through the process of talking to the on-location doctor, having him suggest, you know, they say they have back pain or something, and they come in because of the dispensaries. Now, at your dispensary, you don't have to have an MMAR card. You guys at your dispensary would accept a note from a doctor for a particular ailment, right? Pete, I was just asking you, at your dispensary, you allow people to sign up not just with MMAR cards, but also if they just have a note from their doctor, right?
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, if they don't, like, we try to help them, like, navigate through the system so that their doctor understands more. And we just help them as best we can.
Right, well, tell us about the location, about your dispensary there.
Well, the dispensary was, it was called MCCM, which stands for Melonheads Canadian Cannabis Movement. My wife, which her established business is called Kush Pixie's Kitchen. She was one of the good medical marijuana bakers in the community, and she basically had some really good edibles for, you know, for the medicinal use, and we know that some people couldn't smoke it, so that's why we brought into the edibles as well. So you know, we have to help people any way we can. Yeah, and basically it was at 174 King Street in Hamilton, Ontario, and yeah, it was a nice place until all this happened. We have a lot of fans that support us here in Hamilton that, you know, wish there was a lot more places like MCCM.
Yeah, and Pete, how long have you been doing this for? You're a medical marijuana grower yourself. How did you get into this whole thing?
Well, I've been a licensed medical marijuana grower for 3 years myself now. I've had my license for 3 years. I first got into this in about 2008. I opened up a vapor lounge in Hamilton as well, called Melonheads, and you know, that's where I was first established as somebody in the community here, the cannabis community.
That's right. And now, how many plants do you grow for yourself, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I was legally allowed to grow 98. Right now, I'm technically growing nothing because they took them all, so I got nothing right now. But legally, I was allowed to grow 98.
Right. And now, is there a hope of you getting your stuff back? And like, have you talked to? Obviously, you have a lawyer. And what's your lawyer say about the whole case? How are you going to move forward?
Well, we are definitely going to move forward and trying to get medicine back, trying to get whatever I can get back from whatever, like from what they took from me. My lawyer, he's in the community. He knows what's going on. You know, we're just going to draw, my next court appearance is on February 27th. So we're just going to see what happens then and go from there, take it day by day.
Right. Well, we'll keep watching, man, for sure. Is there anything that other people can do to help you guys? I know it's really tough, obviously, when a dispensary gets hit. Like, how many members do you guys have at your dispensary right now? Or how many did you have there?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure.
Not sure the number? Well, that's cool, man. But you guys have been there helping people. So, I mean, this is a tough situation, obviously. Is there any way that other people can help you guys?
Well, like, we do like the support when we see it on, like, Facebook or, you know, things like that. They want to write letters to us that, like, we can bring to court that shows, like, you know, that we need places like this. And, you know, if we did, like, I understand you guys are in Vancouver, but if anybody in Ontario or Hamilton's watching and, you know, we did help them in any way, you know, it'd be great to, you know, acknowledge that so that, you know, we can show that kind that, you know, we do have the support and stuff.
Right, because when you go to court, I mean, all of that matters, really. All of those testimonials from people and stuff has an effect. The judges really do, you know, think about these things on that humanitarian level, or at least they're supposed to. I was just at a recent court case for the Burnaby Medical Marijuana Dispensary, which was the first medical marijuana dispensary in Burnaby, and it was popped. They got busted. Sent in an undercover cop there as well. They all got trafficking charges and shut the place down. Jordan, who is my friend and also used to be with the co-host of Pot Parazzi, she was in the courtroom and she actually pled guilty to the charges. She wasn't fighting it on that level, but Brittany and Ryan Steplock may fight it, actually. Brittany is the other co-host.
No, I don't care what you're doing.
But here in Vancouver, the judge there really wanted to know about the personal side of things.
And seriously, I gotta go, buddy. My cousin here is freaking out. So I'm going to have to hang up right now.
No worries, Pete. Well, we'll talk soon. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Much appreciated.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me.
We'll keep in touch and talk more about your case soon.
All right, for sure.
Yeah, thanks, man. So that was Pete Melonhead, MCCM. Now, Pete, before you go, oh, I guess he's gone. I'll add the website address to MCCM to, actually, maybe I can dig it up right now. I'll also add it to the show notes and people can find out more there about it. I believe it's mccm.ca, so that one's not too tough. mccm.ca, that's the Melonheads Canadian Cannabis Movement. So yeah, it's rough. They're going after medical marijuana dispensaries, and of course, we don't really know what's going to happen with dispensaries because they're not included in the new MMPR system. So Health Canada has defined this whole entire new system and without really addressing the dispensaries that have been in existence here in Canada for 15 years or longer. Some of them, they didn't mention them at all, really. This new system is going to completely replace them, but of course replace them not with storefront locations, but with mail order distribution systems. So the people that set up and will become distributors of all of the pot that's grown in Canada for medical purposes will be sending it out through the mail. You won't be able to walk into a store and look at pot and select it in that way. It'll just be done through a list. Which is how Prairie Plant Systems is now. So I'm just not sure how that's going to satisfy everybody. People want to look at the weed they're consuming before they purchase it to see what it looks like. You know, nobody wants to just like gamble it because you get shitty weed. But a mic is buzzing, says somebody. Marius, maybe we got a mic buzzing. There's only 2 mics here now, so I can set this back up for Mick, and I'll take this one for myself. Can you hear it buzzing? Speaker. Too close to the speaker. Thanks, chatters, for letting us know. Okay, so I have more videos here to play, and then once we do play a couple more, we'll come back and talk to Mick. I wonder if we should play the Procaster video that we have. Let's save that till the end, actually, because if it screws up and it shuts Procaster down, then at least we were able to do the entire show without screwing with it first. So I'll play one of these other ones. There's another interesting bill that's being pushed in the United States, and this one has to do with hemp, actually, and this newscaster had a little bit of a rant that I enjoyed. I'll play this for you guys, and we'll talk about hemp on the other side.
One of America's most powerful senators is backing the idea and throwing his support behind a bill that could mean an economic boom for Kentucky. Ben has the reality check you won't see anywhere else.
It was last Friday when Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell issued a statement that he supports lifting America's ban on hemp, saying, quote, "I am convinced that allowing hemp production will be a positive development for Kentucky's farm families and economy," end quote. McConnell also said he's been assured by Kentucky Agriculture Commissioner James Comer that legalizing hemp production would not promote illegal drug use. So why is there a ban on hemp in the first place? I'll get to that in a minute. But the United States is the only industrial nation to ban industrial hemp as an economic crop. According to a Congressional Resource Service report from 2005, more than 30 countries in Europe, Asia, and North America grow hemp. So why is it banned in America? Because federal law makes no distinctions between cannabis and industrial hemp, and it makes it illegal to grow hemp without a license from the DEA. Okay, but again, why is growing hemp banned in the U.S.? Again, we're getting there. But if it were legal, what would hemp be used for? Actually, it can be used for many things, from clothing to paper. In fact, did you know that at one time Henry Ford created a car where the body was actually made of hemp? The process similar to fiberglass, but kind of a green version. In fact, the first Model T Ford was designed to run on hemp gasoline. And Kentucky is prime farming land for hemp. Okay, so one more time. Why is it illegal to grow hemp in the United States? Well, because during the 1970s, Congress designated hemp, along with marijuana and heroin, as a Schedule I drug under the Controlled Substances Act, making it illegal to grow hemp without a license from the DEA. Now, the strangest part about that law is that while it's illegal to grow hemp in the United States, hemp products are sold legally in the form of paper, cosmetics, lotions, auto parts, clothes, and animal feed. In fact, the United States imports more hemp products than any other nation in the world. Well, what this means for you is that until the early 1900s, the state of Kentucky led the nation in hemp production. If the ban on industrial hemp were lifted, that would mean a huge market for farmers in Kentucky and more jobs. But at what cost? Well, actually, no cost at all, because the real reason it is illegal to grow hemp is because it looks like pot. The truth is, both plants are from the same plant family, but they're very different in one important way. No matter how you feel about marijuana, whether you classify it as a medicine, a drug, a recreational tool, a narcotic, it doesn't matter. Marijuana has THC content. It takes at least 3% THC in order to get high. And higher quality marijuana used for drug consumption has a 10 to 15% THC. Hemp has a much lower THC content. Usually, hemp's THC is about 0.01 to 0.03%. That makes it worthless for getting high. Over 40 years after making hemp illegal in the United States simply because it looks like pot, doesn't seem like a very good reason to keep that ban ongoing. And that is Reality Check.
Learned something new there. I didn't know.
Did you know that it would take you about 2 acres, smoking 2 acres of hemp at one time to get a high off of it?
I don't have that much time.
I wouldn't think so.
Stupid monkey.
Smoking acres. She's got enough time. So yeah, Mick, hemp. I guess. Jeez. Hemp for victory. We could go on for. Yeah, exactly. Is that shirt made of hemp? The camo? No, it's not.
This is not, I'm afraid.
But you have a lot of hemp stuff, don't you?
I've got a few hemp shirts. I got a couple hemp t-shirts. I got a couple hemp dress shirts, actually, that are very nice.
Dress shirts.
What else do I have made of hemp? I got a couple of hats. You know, yeah, a couple things. I really enjoy hemp. I think I wish I had more.
And it's now legal here in Canada partially, although David Malmo-Levine would tell us that the regulations are so tight that really nobody can get involved in hemp production here in Canada, and it's kind of it's just useless that we even have it legal because nobody's producing it and nobody's really developing it in the way it should be. I guess
Well, we don't process hemp fiber in Canada, for one.
Right.
There isn't any at all. It's all, for most of it, I think hemp fiber is processed in China.
Well, and that's what he said in his rant, that the U.S. imports more hemp stuff than any other country on the planet from the rest of the world, but doesn't make it itself. It's kind of bizarre.
Interesting to note that a number of the large hemp seed-producing companies that are based in Manitoba were recently bought up by American interests, by American companies. How I actually came into this information was I'm from a small town, as you know, and talking to the lady who owns the local health food store. When I asked her, I said, there was a dramatic increase in hemp seed that I buy. Buy it in a 5-gallon tubs, or 5-pound tubs. And it went up like $9 in a month. And I said, what the hell's going on? And she said, because obviously her prices went up, and she said that, when I inquired, it was because a number of the really big hemp-producing farms, like Manitoba Hemp Seed Company, I believe, is one of them, were bought up by American interests. I don't know if this was just like a stock sort of thing or how it was done. Like I don't know the details, but it would explain. And again, because the United States being a large importer, well, this would again add, like, because of the hemp seed that comes from Canada. You know, which is that people are using to eat, that it's become extremely popular as a dietary additive. People are adding it to their diet because they recognize, you know, the benefits. They're feeling the benefits. It's not because it's the latest fad that they, you know, like niacin or, you know, dandelion root or whatever it may be, or ginseng or ginkgo biloba or something else. So
it's actually got the nutrients in it. Hemp seed is as healthy for you as flaxseed or more, which is like the best thing that you can get, basically. Right? Yeah. No, it's really good.
I believe that 4 tablespoons of hemp seed has more than double the daily Health Canada or, you know, guidelines of protein in one, and then not to mention it's got 2 very strong amino acids, more than eating a can of tuna fish.
Right.
So very, 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 very beneficial. There's no shortage of information on the web. Just punch in, you know, hemp seeds, edible hemp seed, or even hemp hearts. Hemp. A lot of people, you know, think hemp hearts are, you know, what they are. That's actually a brand name from what's his name, Mr. Snow's company out of Alberta. He coined the term.
Called them
hemp
hearts.
Yeah, but it's just. They're just shelled hemp seeds. The reason they're shelled, too, because that makes them non-viable. And that's how they get into the United States. Because they've gone through the dehusking process, which, now there's no way they can be sprouted.
Right, exactly. And, of course, it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to sprout them yourself. I guess you could eat the toasted cannabis seeds themselves, the other kind. I've had both kinds.
Oh, roasted,
Yeah, well, you have them.
Yeah, roasted.
They're delicious. Yeah.
Boy, they're yummy.
They're good, and they salt them up. Actually, where were we? I think we were at either the Canamed Fair here. It could have been even the Treating Yourself Expo. It was the Treating Yourself Expo last year. There was a company there that toasted hemp seeds and salted them up really nicely. They just tasted like, you know,
remember,
Spitz
somebody
or
was
something.
handing them out somewhere. They were yummy.
Yeah,
I had
were
a big
good.
bag. I was walking around.
Yeah, they were tasty. So yeah, that's interesting about the hemp bill going through in the States. Hopefully, you know, every once in a while some of these things get floated. Ron Paul had one, and unfortunately they just don't get behind him. The U.S. government on a federal level is very sorry They suck.
Sorry.
They never.
They are sorry, that's
Yeah.
for sure. What a sorry-ass bunch of them.
They are. They never really do what they're supposed to do.
By the way, speaking of seeds, did you know that pumpkin seeds have, I think it's 30% more protein than sunflower seeds?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, Mick. That I didn't know. But pumpkin seeds, I'm not huge on the pumpkin seeds. They're okay. I like the salty flavoring they throw on them, but I'm not so much for the
salt.
I love the
Doesn't matter.
salt.
Put salt on anything.
Sure.
Well, speaking of salt, let's have some bacon. There you go.
Bacon is delicious.
Bacon on your seeds.
Okay, we watched these other videos. I have another one to play here. This is from the Young Turks. I like the Young Turks.
The Young Turks are good.
They're funny guys. They're some of the best original internet content out there.
Where do
in
you
the
find
news
the
department.
time to watch all this shit?
Where do I find the time?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
man,
no wonder
prepping-
you're so busy.
Prepping for the show. I got to make something for everybody here. I've got to have some good content. This stuff is important things happening in the cannabis community. Got to
It's
keep on
work,
top
man.
of this
It's
stuff,
what
man.
we do.
That's right.
Bring you the best in viewing, Pot TV viewing entertainment.
That's right. And now this isn't actually
And education.
This one's about ecstasy. As some people out there know, I'm a fan of ecstasy. I really do like MDMA and think it's a good party drug, but I also see the therapeutic aspect of it. I think that it's really a helpful drug in sort of bonding with people, getting down to your inner emotions and feelings and sort of to that level where you can sort of reprogram yourself. I think they should be using it in therapy. That's what this video is about. This is the Young Turks talking about ecstasy and married couples.
Oh.
So, interesting stuff.
Good. This would be good.
Yeah, it's funny. Let's check it out.
There is an Oxford ethicist who argues that married couples should have the right to take ecstasy in order to save their marriages.
Any couple
Now-
should have a right. Any adult should have a right.
Okay, I agree with you on that. I think that all drugs should be legalized and regulated. That way we don't have, this black market for drugs, which is why drug cartels are so successful in Mexico. But that's a completely different story. We're going to focus on a lighter side of this. And what Brian Earp is arguing is that now, more than ever before, people are living longer. And as a result, their marriages go through decades and decades of grueling,
Right.
hard work. And it becomes more and more difficult to keep, the marriage alive. It's harder to connect with your significant other. So using MDMA could really help, foster a healthier relationship.
Yeah.
And of course, he's saying that you should do so under, medical supervision, and you should do so in a responsible way.
Even if you've exhausted all other avenues of
Right.
bridging that gap and keeping the relationship together. I mean, I think that's a fascinating point that couples are staying together and living longer than ever before. Because,
Right.
I think you even talk like till death do you part. That was an easy commitment to make when it was we maybe got 17 years together. I could handle that. Yeah,
Right.
I could get together for that. Now it's 60 years.
Right.
What are we gonna do? I mean, Lost is done. We've got nothing to talk about anymore.
Totally. And think about when the kids are out of the house,
Right.
and you now have to focus on one another, something that maybe you didn't do while you were raising the kids.
Sure.
You kind of become disconnected. I see it happen all the time. And by the way, my parents have been together for 30 years. We just celebrated their anniversary.
Very nice.
And I was thinking to myself, geez, you guys have been married for 30 years.
Right.
That's incredible. How do people do that?
And you guys,
So-
oddly enough, to celebrate, went to an Olive Garden and all took ecstasy.
Yeah,
which I
it
think
was great. It
is
was great.
fantastic.
My
I mean, you
parents
already
loved
feel
it.
like family when you're there, but when you're rolling, man, soup salad and breadsticks, put it on me.
Nothing says celebrating a 30th wedding anniversary like dancing on a table at an Olive Garden.
Yeah.
Playing Gangnam Style on your phone. So anyway, this is a really interesting point of view from this ethicist, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Totally agree.
So you've experienced MDMA.
I have indeed. I have indeed. On purpose, kids. I actually did. This is a drug that was discovered mostly by accident in 1912, and then was literally left on a shelf for almost 10 extra years. Then they kind of brought it back and did studies on what it could do for muscle relaxation and the way blood sugar interacts with it.
Yeah.
Then our own CIA, our own military did studies on it to see
In the
if
50s, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. There's a great book about our government using acid, methamphetamine, MDMA. It's called Acid Dreams. Brilliant book. But there's this MK Ultra ultra project where they administered MDMA to people, sometimes without even their knowledge or consent if they were prisoners. And the idea was, well, this can relax them, we can pull out information out of them.
It was used as a truth serum.
Yeah, and at the same time, these like nefarious, kind of shitty and shady studies were going on. Actual psychiatrists and psychologists were doing studies with them. Relationship behavioral therapists were using it, and they found that because it opens you up and sort of floods your body with natural serotonin, it makes you open to feelings, and it removes some of the walls you may have built up, and it was the perfect therapy drug.
Yeah, there were a lot of really shady things going on with the DEA in the mid-1980s. So, first of all, interesting thing, when MDMA was discovered, it was by Merck in Germany, okay? So Merck Pharmaceuticals, you guys are aware of them. And as you mentioned, it was kind of under the radar for a very, very long time. And in the 70s, you know, these psychiatrists started using it, and it became very popular. All of a sudden, you see ecstasy pills being passed around in the party scene in Dallas. Dallas of all places, right? So people are partying, they're popping the pills, they're dancing to...
What's this one got on? A cowboy hat? Oh, that's Texan.
Yeah. Exactly. and it becomes very popular in Dallas. And the DEA finds out about it, and they're like, no, you're not allowed to have fun. So I love that you mentioned the shady studies, because prior to the DEA getting involved in this, there was like one study involving rats, and they were like pumped with like copious amounts of MDMA, and it showed, oh look, it damages them. Yeah, if you get pumped with copious amounts of anything, there'll probably be a little bit of damage.
Caffeine, sugar, alcohol, nicotine, anything is a poison if you ingest buckets of it at a time.
Exactly, but the DEA didn't care about that, and they wanted to classify it as a Schedule I drug, even though there was proof, because these psychiatrists were using it, there was proof that it had some medical value, but they didn't care. They're going to schedule it as a Schedule I drug.
And not just in therapy, like there was documentation that it helped people that literally had stuttering issues. They could have a little bit of MDMA, and sometimes it cured that. Now I'm not saying it's not cured. I mean, it would temporarily take care of the issue. I'm not saying that that's its main goal or purpose, but clearly it has some value. And for everybody who's a proponent of couples staying together because the sanctity of marriage, or staying together for the kids, for the health and wellness of a family, why would you ever be opposed to a tool that someone could have in their arsenal to help maintain a healthy relationship?
Also, you're absolutely right about that. Here's another thing that drives me crazy. If you legalize it and you regulate it, just like prostitution, right? You can create a safer environment for people who do want to take it. Because right now what's happening is, you think people stop taking ecstasy? People are still taking ecstasy.
No.
I mean, Kevin just admitted that.
It's just mixed with baby diuretic. And let me tell you, that's only fun for like 3 minutes. And it's mixed with speed, it's mixed with terrible things. And you know, it's like, if I hate that the government, not to get too soapboxy, but I just hate that they have this, we get to pick the poison.
Right.
We get to pick the poison for the profit. Oh, there's a huge lobbying arm to keep this particular drug legal or regulated in this capacity, like Oxy, which kills tons of people all the time, and it's terribly addicting. Like, okay, we'll leave that legal and regulated on a shelf, but this other drug that someone might want to take for whatever their reason, no, that one's not allowed.
Oh, are we there? Nice. So yeah,
I'll just
therapeutic value of MDMA. Some people call it ecstasy and MDMA, or say they're interchangeable. But really,
Dutch. Yeah,
they're close. Ecstasy is a little different. It's usually mixed and pressed with a bunch of other weird crap. You're not ever quite sure what you're getting. And actually, to be honest, I kind of like the ecstasy better. Maybe it's the speed or something in it that's good. It keeps you up all night and keeps you going. MDMA kind of relaxes you, puts you to sleep. But it's all, a personal preference thing. Anyways. And it's actually quite safe. We talk a lot about the safety of MDMA. Or there's a guy named David Nutt, who was the government's top drug scientist, actually, in the UK. And he came out and said that ecstasy is so safe, it's actually safer for people than horseback riding. Horseback riding kills more people every year. Oh my goodness. Way more people every year than ecstasy. And he also said if you were to meet a stranger on the street, it would be safer to give a stranger a pill of ecstasy than to give him a peanut. A peanut would have a much higher likelihood of killing or hurting them than the pill of ecstasy
That's
would.
why peanuts are banned in schools.
Yeah, right.
Like in a lot of public places, where you just No,
Yeah.
no. Or else, if it's not, there'll be warning signs.
Right.
Maybe peanuts in this area. Watch
Well,
out before you
and
go
the thing
in there.
is, and exactly that. See, they shouldn't necessarily be banning things, but warning people about them and stuff. That's good. I mean, banning peanuts in the school is maybe not a bad idea, but it's not a prohibition on peanuts. They
No,
don't
no,
put
it's not a prohibition. It's
you
a
can still go to the
warning.
store and buy peanuts.
It's just a heads up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's the
You don't
same
have
as
to
it's the
ban
same
the
as if
product
there's
if it's
chlorine
bad.
gas in the area. They put up a sign: use a ventilator. Chlorine gas. Oh, good warning, good idea. Like, might kill you. You better take advice.
If they made everything that was bad for you illegal, we wouldn't have any. You wouldn't even be able to. You can drink too much. You can drink too much water and kill yourself by drinking yourself to death if you drink enough water. They're not going to ban water.
You know the one that always I enjoyed was when they used to talk about when they talked about grow ops, illegal grow ops, and all the dangerous chemicals in the home.
Oh, yeah.
I've been growing pot for like 30 plus years, 35 years, and I looked at all of the stuff I used to grow marijuana one day, and every single one of those was like basically natural products. But then I looked around at all the stuff else I had in my basement, in my shop area, and every single thing that I could pull down, whether it was WD-40 or 3-in-1 oil or some paint or paint stripper or epoxy or contact cement or any of these things, every one of them had like skull and crossbones and warning and don't get on your skin and using a ventilated
Call a doctor
area
immediately if you
and don't
ingested.
all kinds of warning. So I wondered, just when they talked about dangerous chemicals in the home, I wondered just whose dangerous chemicals are they referring to?
No
because
kidding.
none of the stuff that I use has any of those kinds of warnings on it.
Well, and this is the thing that I don't understand. If growing is so dangerous for people, then why are medical marijuana users, some of the most frail people in society, these sick people, they're able to do it without being hurt, without hurting themselves, without any negative effect.
And actually having benefits from it.
Benefiting from
Reaping
it as a
benefits
medication.
from doing it.
How does that make sense? How do they, and even when they're criticizing pot and saying that it's bad for you, well, why are people who, people who are using it for a medical reason, these medical marijuana users, they don't
People
seem
like
to have
me.
a problem with it. It's very bizarre. If it hurt you so bad, wouldn't those people be hurt? But no, they don't. And of course, with these grow operations, they're saying that they cause fires and stuff.
Unsafe,
When's the last time that you know a medical marijuana patient that burned his house down? Do you hear about that a lot?
No. It's actually, I only hear about it a bit in illegal grows. Because these people take. They circumnavigate safety issues, and they steal power and they try to do other things.
They rig it up.
And not only that, they're also trying to produce as much as possible in as short a time as possible. They're overloading circuits. It's, the goal is money, not to make medicine, but to just have a product that will generate cash. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm. And if it was regulated and that illegal market was erased, then those people wouldn't even exist at all.
And because the legal medical growers at this point don't need to hide, they've taken steps that would normally get a clandestine grower arrested, that might draw attention, like putting in proper ventilation, for instance, instead of venting into an attic or something, doing something that's going to cause mold or other issues, or they've put a vent in the side of the house, so it's kind of obvious what's going on there to the trained eye of your average cop.
Yeah, exactly.
That, looks like they're venting out a grow over there. Well, it's a legal grow, so of course they're venting properly, as they should be. Mm-hmm. And this is what makes growing medical marijuana legally in a home not dangerous. And in fact, so the real danger is prohibition and not actually the act of growing the pot itself.
Yeah, of course.
Really. But, these people are putting a different spin on it. They have been for years. And they're very little, other than the fact that they have the power to do it, there's very little traction, I think, in people supporting the government's changes, other than cops and firemen, which was clearly shown when Leona Glack Makes Me Gag made her announcement of these changes and the MMPR supposed coming up now. The people in the photo op were cops and firemen.
Yeah.
There was no nurses, no doctors, no patients, no designated growers, no personal production growers like myself. No. None of these people were there in this photo. So, and she called them stakeholders.
Yes.
So who is the government serving? Well, judging by just the way things are set up in the opposition from our side of it, She's only looking at the stakeholders and that side. It's a one-sided deal.
Right.
And I'm hoping that, you know,
I challenge one
there's a
fireman
challenge.
or one police officer to come forward and show me any shred of evidence or statistic that says that grow ops cause fires.
They'll just make shit up.
They don't have any. There's no evidence of that at all. In fact, the evidence shows, we think, that people who have grow ops are actually less likely to have fires.
Legal ones, sure, because they're
paying
doing
more
it
attention
right.
to it.
They're
That's
exactly.
right.
They're doing it legal and right. They're paying a hydro bill. Many of the people in the program that I know have spent they've put a significant investment in actually to have it done right, to have electricians come in. It's up to code, you know, and you can't ask for more than that, to have somebody come in and do it up to code.
Yeah.
And actually in cases, there's been cases where city inspectors have gone in under the guise of safety issues and found legal marijuana gardens to be up to code, and there was nothing they could do. Mm-hmm. They were hoping to close them. It's unsafe. You walked in and went, who the hell put this in? Oh, I had so-and-so electrical company come over and here's this and that. You'll have to go deal with these licensed electricians who signed off on it.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Get the fuck out of my house. And I think it's great, you know, but
They
there's
said,
also been no mention.
Valley Boy says I need camo. I should have a camo tie.
You should have
That'd
one.
be slick, actually.
Yeah, man. If I find one, I'll get it for
Oh
you.
man, I'm gonna. My girl. Luckily, my girlfriend's a fashion designer and seamstress. So
You can buy this material.
yeah, she can make me
Just
a
look it up.
camouflage tie.
Yeah, I think you can get it.
And that's philosophypink.com.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Karina Gonzalez.
If I wore dresses, she'd be making them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, she's actually making a hemp suit right now
Yeah.
for Mr. Dana Larson, I believe.
Marius over there. What do you mean, Al?
What have you? Yeah.
Okay. When I wear dresses, she makes them.
He doesn't usually wear them
when I do
on
wear
Pot
dresses,
TV shows.
Philosophy Pink makes them for me.
You should think about wearing one of your dresses on your next episode of your show.
Yeah. Oh well. You know what I have lined up for the next episode of maybe on the next episode.
What do you have lined up?
Well, it's a surprise, but you typed it in and did a search on it earlier.
Oh, okay. I think I remember.
You know what it was.
Yeah, I do.
You
Well,
saw it.
actually, no, here's a question. So how many people do you think, I mean, when this happens, March 2014, the government says no more personal cultivation. Nobody will be allowed to grow in their own homes. What are people going to do? What are these growers going to do? They're just going to...
I'm going to grow back on Crown land or private, put it Crown land. Guerrilla farming is growing pot on land that doesn't belong to you.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily, it could be Crown, it could be private land, it could be an abandoned, a lot, there's a warehouse, a bunch of empty buildings with some land in back and it's all overgrown, you might say, oh, I'm going to try to put some plants, whatever.
What are
But
the
that's
best
what guerrilla
places? What are
growing
the
is.
best spots to find?
The best spots to find have water. So you want to, any swampy areas like this, because some of the best security is not going back there all summer long. That's the best, because if the plants have a source, they can put roots down and find a water source, so you don't need to irrigate. That means you don't have to go back there, draws no attention to the area. That's the best security you can have. Mm-hmm. The more trips you got to go in and see them plants, that's every time you know, and especially Vancouver Island is crawling with people in the bush. And I mean, it is just, with the popularity and ATVs and like this is BC, people go out and play, and this is our playground. Mm-hmm. This is beautiful country, and people are out there enjoying it. They're hunting, fishing. Then you've got
Raiders
a
are a
plethora
problem.
of forestry workers, fisheries officers. There's game, conservation officers. There's surveyors, logging company guys. It's just, the bush is crawling with people.
And animals who might want to eat your stash too.
And then there's the weather to contend with. There's all kinds of things. But
now, isn't it prudent though to go and at least check on it once in a while? You wouldn't want to leave it sitting there just to go about its business the entire summer.
every single spot is going to be treated differently, and depending also on your situation. Some of the places I'm going to now, because I only have like a really nice car and can't take it into like down the logging roads as like I would like to. I don't have that type of rail vehicle, but that's okay because a lot of people don't. So this is a way to show people how to do it in place. I'm not that far out. Using Google Earth is an awesome tool to find these watery areas and then go you really have to get out there and do the legwork to check them out properly and get into these spots.
Get your boots on and
Get, you know, oh yeah, I wear like hip waders and rain pants because you're going, like, I would just be dripping wet all the time without rain pants. It's, and you'll see a lot of this on the videos. I'm going to take it through the whole summer. I was hoping to get it to the Vancouver Seed Bank today and talk to Rebecca Ambrose, but she's tied up in her travel arrangements over from the island, from Victoria, so we'll make a time, because I have to also get seeds for this endeavor. I want to get all seeds in the ground. Much better deal with there's a drought with
Valley Boy's suggestion, you should show me how to grow outdoors. That'd be fun. I'd love to learn how to grow outdoors. Well, I know about growing indoors more than I do about outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably know as much. Well, growing outdoors, I just know a lot of tricks. And to be honest, in all the years I've grown outdoors, or tried to put plants out, or even plants, you know, whatever. Sometimes it's been around the back of some house I was renting, or in a bush. I got to tell you that I would say I failed 80% of the time.
Yeah.
And it's right down to that ratio where if you want 25 plants, you need to put out 100.
Yeah.
Well, digging 100 holes, hauling the soil for 100 hole, it really becomes a daunting task, which gets back to that whole year-round thing that I always refer to, growing pot outdoors, guerrilla. These are year-round occupation. But once you get into finding good spots and getting plants in lots of spots like here, there, I've got 3 or 4 water sources now, which is pretty good for me. I'm lucky. Hopefully, in May, they won't be dried up.
Right.
Well, a couple of them I know won't be, but, you know. Right. And I think the water table is going to be low enough the plants will go down and find spots.
I was going to ask if that would make a difference, too, I
Makes
guess.
a huge difference. Yeah. And again, that's from seed crops. They'll put down that root. If there's a water source there, they'll find that even up to, 4 or 5 feet down. Oh, yeah, like if... depending most of the strains, and especially if you dig them a good hole, give them a good chance. And the weather holds. It's like a lot of things. It is outdoor, it's guerrilla, and why such a high ratio of failure, why you put so many extra plants out. It's a lot of tromping around.
Right, a quarter of them survive, basically, right?
One of the greatest things, though, I found, and even better than camo, I mean, a little bit of camo is okay. Too much of it is a bit of a heat score. But in certain situations, you're going to need it. Yeah. You're going to need extreme stealth, nighttime movements. So a lot of times it doesn't matter what you have planned. It's a full moon. It's going to be a clear night. It's like, you know what? I got to make a visit. I'm going to take advantage and go out there then. Mm-hmm.
Right, pick and choose the proper times to go.
Yeah, some places, logging areas are closed. They have industrial roads that close on the weekends. No one around, go out on the weekend. During the week, you're running in. These guys, they work there. They know every square inch of that bush. They're not fooled.
It'd be fun to go out there with you and shoot a video or something.
Oh, I'd love to have you, man.
We should do it.
Anytime you want.
Yeah.
You're always welcome to my house. Hey, and I got a brand new couch. Big fucking couch.
Nice.
So, you crash
good place
out,
to crash.
stay.
Exactly.
You don't have to. That way, you could get up early. We could go out and spend some time. You don't have to run back to Nanaimo. Right away, same day thing.
That's right.
Oh yeah. Spend the night. Go out the north. Spend a night or two. And
that'd be fun, man. Well, we should do it. I'm planning a trip to the island.
Bring your
family,
grungy clothes.
All from the island. I was born and raised on the island in Nanaimo. Oh yeah, I love the island. And as you said, it's true. The bush is packed with people. Every time you go on the bush, doesn't matter. We'd be missioning back, whatever. We would constantly be in the bush, missioning around. And there's always somebody back there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was walking back there on last Friday, I went back, and it was a rainy day. And I walked back, and just as I was walking down this logging road, which was gated off, but I knew there was a car parked. There was a car parked out at the gate. I went, okay, somebody else is back in there. Cool. And as I'm walking along, here comes these 3 people with a bull mastiff.
Oh, yeah.
Huge
big
dog.
Yeah.
With a deer bone like this. A deer, somebody slaughtered a deer back there, right?
Oh, wow.
So it had this deer leg in its mouth. And it comes down the corner. I'm like, oh, sorry, so. Good boy, what a boy. And he's just all proud of himself. So I pet it. The people are like, oh, sorry. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. It's okay. So they, leave. And so
crazy.
There's just people, but I've got my, I had the Opus pole the camera on the stick, you know, and
The Opus pole.
I'm holding that with the new microphone rig that I got set up for it, and as well I've got my GPS, and so I just look like I'm up to something else. I didn't look like the, and I wasn't wearing camo. Maybe I just have my hat, camo hat, but I have my
Yeah, you
raincoat.
said too much as a heat score.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I guess if a cop sees you and you're all decked out in camo, they're like, oh, what's this guy doing?
Yeah, it's sometimes
You gotta wear like a
yeah.
black jacket or something over top of it.
Yeah. Well, another thing that's really good is camo coveralls, which basically are like a pair of gas station coveralls, you know, with the zipper up the front. You get them into them,
Yeah.
one piece. But those are nice if you get them baggy. You just put them up over your clothes when you step into the bush, and then you can go disappear.
Yeah.
But when you're coming back to your vehicle, you can sort of come close to where you are, scope out the situation, there's no one around, peel those off, put them in your day pack.
Yeah.
And now you're regular clothes, and you're not all dirty as well, right? You keep your clothes cleaner, and you walk out of the bush, and you're just like, oh, GPS, geocaching, or taking photos, or, you know,
Right.
you're just out enjoying
Yeah,
the outdoors,
it's good to have
right?
some excuse, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Like you say,
Yeah.
oh, I was looking for this type of crazy exotic bird.
You know, you come out dressed in camo carrying a shovel and stuff, right? You know, it's a little obvious what you're up to, you know,
Yeah.
with a empty
Smelling
freighter
like
pack,
herb.
and you're
Yeah.
all dirty. And,
Pot leaf bumper sticker on the back of your truck.
yeah, that's, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's so.
Yeah. Well, I guess, Marius, we have another video to play, don't we? All right. We should talk about.
No, I don't get high, bro.
We're kind of going back and forth from topic to topic here. But this video, Mick, now, did you get a chance to see? We went and actually recorded it for Pot TV. It was just up the street at the SFU downtown center here. And that was the Liberals' unveiling of their new policy paper.
I didn't see it.
No.
No.
It's actually pretty good.
Did you guys, is it up on Pot TV?
It is. Yeah, you can watch the video on Pot
I
TV.
will go back and watch that for sure.
And you guys can go and watch that video on Pod TV. It's a pretty good paper, actually, that they unveiled. They've been working for a year on this paper, and it deals with basically everything you'd need to know, or a lot of different things you'd need to know to actually set up a legalized system here in Canada. And these guys actually went into some detail. It's about 40 pages. It's just a preliminary report, but it does kind of generally look at the points, the key points that seem to be the ones that they should be looking at. So we were all kind of impressed with the job they did. It's definitely going further than any of the other political parties have gone here in Canada, at least. Way better than the Conservatives, obviously, but even better than the NDP. The NDP hasn't really been moving forward on this issue very fast or anything, or making it one of their issues, or
I
talking
think ever
about it
since
much.
Mulcair came up and became, you know, with his comments during his leadership run,
Yeah.
and then his comments after his leadership win, I could tell right there he's a dud. Because the very first thing out of his mouth was something about more study. And I thought, oh, no. I mean, it's pretty clear. I think it shows to the character and the way of thinking right off the hop. And I go, my God, this guy is like, he's not even in nursery school yet when it comes to understanding the issues.
No, he's
and
definitely
I mean, you
not
got to
educated
hold
on
him
this
by the
issue.
hand and say, oh, I gave up right there on you know, anything with him.
Yeah,
And
no,
it was
I've
clear,
not been
and it was
impressed with
clear-
Mulcair at all.
No,
He's
and
a
it's-
snooze for me. I think he's a boring leader.
No, he's
and
trying to play the same
sadly-
game Harper is, the political pandering and bullshit game, rather than suck it up and start doing what's right for people. But under the present monetary type system that we are living under, you know, he's just playing the game, same old, more bullshit. At least what the Liberals are proposing, it's different. Hasn't been done yet by a major, well, lamestream party.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than us, you know, but what are we still? We think we're still referred to as fringe.
Yeah, probably.
So,
But and see, now the Liberals don't have any power now. They lost most of their power in the last election. They were totally destroyed, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, you know, now we have Justin Trudeau running for leadership, but we also have other leadership candidates there.
It's like the Liberals and the NDP swapped spots from about 10 years back, give or take, where the NDP was the third place party, you know, not really a threat to anybody.
Yeah.
And sure, they were like, when Jack Layton came to Mark Henry's apartment and like, oh, I'm against marijuana prohibition. And, you know, and there was all of that. And it was like, yeah. Well, when you're a third place team, you can say anything you want because you know, and everyone knows realistically that you aren't going to be influential. So it's easy to say these things. Once you become a player, you have to sort of, okay, whoa, we got to toe the party line because the political scientists have got things mapped out so precisely. If you want to become in power, which is the big goal, the pie, the cake, the brass ring,
Yeah.
you've got to do this, this, and this, and you can't just come out and be, because that'll kill you. You'll never do it. People will look at you, and they're still playing that game.
Yeah.
But what they're failing to realize is so many more of us are so better educated now through the internet and so much more, and our hard work, people like us and so many other hardworking activists, who we've been hammering the message out. You've got, I thought it was great, like Washington and Colorado, when they legalized. I called up my dad and I said, Dad, remember when you said never? The United States will never, ever, ever. He said, Canada can't legalize because the United States will never do it.
Yeah.
And I said, remember that?
Yeah.
I said, well,
I've heard that
now
one said a few times
what?
about certain things.
Oh, that's been said by many, many, many people. That's been said by some of our own politicians.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we can't do anything because of the United States.
Anything's possible.
So wait a minute now.
And
the United
now,
States have no more moral authority to govern anyone on drug policy, considering the drastic failure that it's been in that country. I have no idea why anyone would even think to mention what the USA when it comes to drug policy. That's just a fucking joke.
Well, because they control the world, so what they say goes pretty much, even here in Canada, what they say goes.
But why is it what they say go on drug policy when they are such a dismal failure? Why would anybody want to copy that shit is beyond me.
Well, I want to copy what they did in Colorado.
It makes no sense. We're back to that. It makes no sense shit, right?
Yeah.
So if it doesn't make sense, there's got to be another motive.
Exactly.
You think it might be money?
Well, it's a monopoly they have now. They can monopolize. Well, I don't even know if they really have a monopoly, because with marijuana, there's such a large market for personal production and like mom and pops and stuff. But of course, whenever they have a prohibition, you have a way of monopolizing things, and it makes the gangs and stuff have more power. I guess in the U.S. it's a little different than here in Canada. In Canada, I think we probably have more mom and pop situation than the gangsters. But, down in the States, maybe the gangsters run everything, and maybe there's less of the mom and pop growers.
It depends what gangsters you're talking about.
Well, there's Mexican gangs, there's the gangs in the U.S.
I was thinking about the Wall Street gangsters.
Well, there's, yeah, right.
Well, I look at...
I'm not sure they're so different, or maybe they're even connected in some ways.
Because in my opinion, those are the real criminals. And the real organized crime. They're the real, because they are organized. They have a huge system in place. And the police are basically their enforcer branch of their gang.
Yes.
They got their own colors. The people on the Wall Street guys, they got their own garb, much similar, but a little different.
Right.
But you know what I mean? They
White
have
shirts.
the $5,000 suits,
yeah.
right? They sit in fancy
Mine
rooms.
is definitely like
they pay no taxes.
It's like $4,500.
I mean, who depends. That's in my opinion, those are the real criminals.
Yeah.
Or that's crime, not the bunch of guys standing on a street corner with their pants, hanging down. Yeah, well, they're run shit too. Around here. Yeah, well, okay, good, right? If you say so, right? But
Right. Yep. Well, I guess we should play this video. What I was getting at was the liberal leadership race. Somehow we were talking about liberals. Yeah, the liberals are all now clamoring to support the issue. All of the ones running because they had this official resolution. I guess we didn't explain that the liberals voted a year ago to have an official resolution go through and basically
legalize.
Right. They like it. Yeah, I am high. Thanks, guys. And at dab time, that'd be nice. We need a dabber on the show.
I always get Jeremiah high whenever we're together.
That's
we seem to get absolutely baked on this show.
The Burmese hits me pretty
hard.
Fuck,
look at the time.
I know, it's already 20 after 5.
I'm going to have to jet out, sorry.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to watch this video, though. So the liberal leadership candidates are all saying, we want to legalize. Every single one of them pretty much are getting behind our issue now. And one of them, George Takash, or is it George... I don't know how you pronounce his name.
I don't either, but I...
Wait, George Takash? George Takash.
Takash.
I think.
I think so.
I don't know. I guess maybe they'll say it in the clip. We should have been paying attention earlier. Jeez, Mick. Come on. I'm just joking. He hasn't seen the clip. Marius, can you play it? We're gonna watch this one through Procaster, so hopefully it won't shut us all down.
drafting from the federal Liberals is to legalize marijuana and sell it from liquor stores. The party says making pot legal could create thousands of jobs and bring in needed tax revenue. They estimate 2,700 stores would be needed to sell marijuana to Canada's 3 million regular pot smokers. But the Liberals say the government would need a high-quality product at a cheap price. A recent report says cannabis accounts for 0.3% of Canada's economy. George Takis is a proponent of legalization and a candidate in the federal Liberal leadership race. Welcome to our program.
Thanks for having me on.
So why? What's the argument for legalizing marijuana in this country?
Well, the one big argument that you didn't cover was really to take the criminal element out of marijuana. Because when you prohibit a substance like marijuana, you create a black market, and criminals love a black market. So if we regulate it, take it out of the black market, $3 to $4 billion of
Yeah, these guys
Frozen
are having
video.
problems. Let's cue us in. There's the chat's all.
Yeah, can you flip back? All right, there we are.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, that's very strange. I guess I knew it wasn't going to work. For some reason, that computer just can't handle playing the video and broadcasting live to you guys at the same time. Yeah, didn't know Broadcaster was Real Player. Yeah, it's not very good for some reason. Sadly, should we give it another try, Marius? Can you fix that? Is there a way to fix it? It was working there for a second. Maybe we can try it one more time from where we left off. If not, what I'll do is I'm going to clip that video out anyway and upload it with the show. So we'll find a way to tack it on the show.
Some people
it's just that we didn't have a version that was able to be uploaded.
Some say it's who you know that counts.
Oh. Actually care about it. It's kind of strange. It makes me feel weird. The fact that these politicians are like, actually talking about this issue and really seeming to get behind it on like a more of a national scale, or like it's really starting to. It's not just Libby Davies anymore.
No,
the party says making pot legal could create thousands of jobs and bring in needed tax revenue. They estimate 2,700 stores would be needed.
The black market. $3 to $4 billion of revenue moves from the criminal sector into the mainstream sector. We then tax maybe 25–30% of that, and then we use that money, amongst other things, to help reduce youth taking marijuana, so in that 15 to 18-year-old bracket. So we have programs to fund in that area. And we also think really hard about reducing people from smoking and driving.
So explain the difference between decriminalizing it and legalizing it.
So decriminalization, and one of the members of this candidate group that's running for the leadership of the Liberal Party.
There we are. Okay, so that video isn't going to work, I guess. We're just not even going to bother with it. I'll try and tack it on later or something. But before we go, and I want to wrap this up pretty quick here, let's talk about your run for the BCMP in this next election.
Well, this
for a seat, an MLA seat.
Yeah, we have the provincial elections coming up in May. Believe it or not, I don't know the exact date. I should.
It's like 100 days or something.
Yeah. I'm going to be running for the BC Marijuana Party. Third time I've been a candidate, so I'm a veteran at this, you might say, and I'm a senior member of the BC Marijuana Party.
That's right.
And not just because I'm an old fart and just had a birthday.
Who's the president? I don't know who
Mark.
the president. Oh, Mark's the president
I'm
right
pretty-
now?
yeah.
He can still be the president while he's in jail?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
I think so. I have to check with Jody on that, but I'm pretty sure.
All right, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay.
And so I'm running that, but before we went to this video that didn't really play, you asked me what I thought about the Liberal Party.
Right.
And, talking about legalization and bringing forth the format and such.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's nice to see this because last time, some months back, when the Liberals first voted this in on their platform, and and to pursue that,
Like a year ago, basically.
a year ago, I got the call from the Young Liberals, or Liberal Party maybe, and asking me what I thought when I mentioned, I'm a member of the Marijuana Party. They went, what do you think about our policy? I said, well,
nice.
Under Chrétien and many Liberal governments, I said, you guys have had more opportunities than not, and not only that, given us lip service right from the Trudeau era.
Yeah.
I says about this, and this, it's gone on and on and on for 35, 40 years.
Oh, they have,
I
for
mean,
sure.
so I
We had
says,
Chrétien
until you
talking
make
about
it part
recently.
of your policy during an election campaign, that's where I am. When they come out and during the election campaign, whoever, say it's Justin Trudeau, he says, if you elect me Prime Minister, I'm going to legalize pot and bring in a regulated market and fix this blah, blah, blah. Geez. Now then, and only then, will I get excited.
Yeah.
Right? I'm optimistic at this point, and I'll just put it so that that's what I think so far about what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
It's promising. I'm optimistic. But you know what? When push comes to shove, put your money on the table. Until that day rolls around, you're still it's regular, same as politics. You're giving me lip service because you're a third place horse and the odds are stacked against you. You're a long shot. Really, and that's the truth of it. Even if Trudeau, now I don't know, I saw a Globe and Mail, I think a tweet, or maybe a CP24 tweet that said, new poll suggests Justin Trudeau as Liberal leader could have a majority government.
Majority?
It was on, I got it on my phone.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a tweet or something I saw today that
Wow.
rolled by. It just came out, I guess, a poll or something today.
These people hate
stating
Stephen
that.
Harper, and they just want some
We
celebrity
got someone
to
in the
vote
audience here
for.
nodding when I said that. I got someone over here nodding at me when I said
That's
that. So,
crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one. Wow.
So,
That's,
there you go. Stuff like that. It's
Well, let's
promising.
get 'em in there.
Harper's
Legalize this
popularity
shit.
is at 34% right now. Very low. I'm hoping to see if he can go below 28 and he can
We
beat
need to
George
force
Bush,
an election somehow.
the young George Bush's record. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst, most unpopular leaders ever.
But wasn't Georgie down to like 9%?
I think it was 28 or something.
Oh, maybe
28.
Okay. Maybe I'm
I
exaggerating.
don't know. Bravo
that may have been
Bravo
Gordon
420
Campbell.
tweeted something about that today, so he's in chat. I would have to get him to check on that one. It was something I read at Bravo's today.
All right. Well, what time is it here? 5:32. Mick, is there anything else? Oh, we were talking about your run. There's also Jody's run for
Green Party.
For the Green Party. That's right. She's been going to meetings and she's been really getting active and involved in the party. It's going to be a big campaign. This one's a serious one.
Well, I
think she actually has a chance. Usually when she's running in these things, she's not really considering winning because it's very hard for the Green Party to win. In her riding, and it's the Stanley Park riding, it's all right around there, it's very green riding, and the NDP is actually supporting the pipeline. Turns out in that riding, the pipeline's the number one issue. Spencer Herbert is who's running against Jody for the NDP, and the Liberals really aren't even putting anybody forward, they said. They're not really putting a lot behind their candidate there. Or I don't know if they said that, but we've heard that. So, I'm not so sure.
I might add the riding I'm in is Alberni Pacific Rim. If you want to look up the boundaries, and if you're in my riding, please by all means get a hold of me on my Facebook page at Opus Farms, PHARMS, and you're more than happy to come on down. I'm always looking for people who want to help out or get involved in any way, positive. You got something you might want to add, or maybe ways we can go about, raising some money, or if you want to just come out and donate time, energy.
Yeah, Jody's riding is Vancouver West End.
I'm doing this to help profile Sensible BC and get more people signed up for Sensible BC and get involved with that, because and explain, how, again, I don't know what the situation is with candidates in my riding. I do know Scott Fraser, our elected MLA, he's the NDP.
Yeah.
I believe he's the Native Affairs critic. He used to be the mayor of Tofino way back when.
Oh.
Yeah, and I believe his brother is now, or a family relation, or was. I'm not sure. Anyhow, he's a great guy and a good friend. So I don't think I'm going to be able to overtake him or anything like that. Not really that I'd want to use this, like I say. Last couple times around was to profile the marijuana issue. That's pretty much covered. So this time it's about sensible BC.
Yeah.
And because this is it's about safer communities. It's about a more positive outlook and doing what's right and what's actually the majority of people want to see consistently in every poll done, both nationally and here in British Columbia. So, we want to make this happen. Let's try to do it.
Yeah.
My
Cool,
show
man.
on Monday, 4 o'clock from my place in Alberni.
That's right.
I'll see you then.
4 p.m. Pacific time, Pot TV. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks for coming on today, Mick. That
My
was
pleasure,
awesome.
bro.
My
My
thanks
pleasure.
to Pete Melonhead. Sorry he couldn't stick around longer. He was getting hassled by his roommate, I guess, or something.
Thanks,
But
Marius.
that was great of him for coming on to talk about what happened. Yeah, the battle's still on. So, and it's really just, with this MMPR and with everything that's happening, them going, what's going to happen with dispensaries? That's what I want to know. Are they going to keep going after dispensaries?
February 21st, Canada-wide. Check it out. Look it up on Facebook or something. There's protests at MPs' offices, especially Conservative MPs' offices, Canada-wide on February 21st.
Yeah, there's like 50 ridings confirmed at least, I think.
Yeah,
February 21st.
Try to look into that, and I hope that'll be up on
There's
Cannabis
information-
Culture on their page. I know
It's on the front page of Cannabis Culture right now. If you go to the front page, scroll down on the right-hand side under events, you'll see the red Canada flag. It says "Fight the MMPR" on it.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I'll be at James Lunny's office in Nanaimo at the mall there. I just can't think of the name of that mall, but it's probably in here as well. You'll find it in there, and as well.
A mall in
Hempology.
Nanaimo?
Yeah.
I know all the malls in Nanaimo.
What's right across the street from where the Canadian Tire is?
Oh, it's called Woodgrove Mall.
That's it. Woodgrove Mall.
Woodgrove
James
Mall.
Lunny's office. It's just down by. It's actually a few doors down from Tim Hortons. So you can get
Oh,
a
there's a
coffee
Tim Hortons
and
on
come
every
out and-
block
and
in
get some
Nanaimo.
Timmies, come out, hang out
It's like
with us.
50 Tim Hortons in Nanaimo.
And I
there's only
will
like
be
100,000
smoking
people that live in that
marijuana
town.
because I'm allowed to. I'm going to be bong hitting out in front of there. I think I'm going to bring my safety bong.
Nice.
Yeah, and just like and put the party bowl on. Actually, it was my Super Bowl. I'm a Super Bowl winner.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's Super Bowl.
Super
Well,
Bowl
we should
winner.
load a Super Bowl and then hit the road.
Here, man. Go ahead.
Nice. You want to take a puff or what?
Yeah, sure.
You take one.
Oh, give me the bowl.
Here. Okay.
We'll have a catch you later Super Bowl.
Oh, and you have a pipe here. Here, why don't I load your pipe?
You go for it. Because, it's really fun. I'm real happy to have come back into the Pot TV studios and doing the show here. It's always nice when
It's good to have you, Mick.
on occasion come and do this.
Always fun. You're a great guest. Informative guest.
Well, you should come over. You can come on and do my show at my place. That'd be cool, too.
That would be fun.
There we go.
That's
Bring
not
an
a bad
extra
idea.
cam. We'll have 2 cams. I use mini cam.
Exactly.
Cultivate freedom.
Peace, guys.